Well, hey fans, welcome back to the 5th annual JanuScary special, and today we're talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer. So I Know What You Did Last Summer is a slash film directed by Jennifer Kaytin Robinson, and it stars Madelyn Cline, Sui Wonders, Freddie Prinze Jr, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Jonah Hauer-King, Tyriq Withers, Sarah Pidgeon, Billy Campbell, and many other names. And it follows this group of teenagers. They're back home in Southport for a friend's engagement party, and while hanging out one night, they cause an accident that ultimately leads to the death of an innocent man. And of course, a year later, they are stalked by a mysterious stranger in a fisherman costume. So I enjoy the original I Know What You Did Last Summer movies. I Know What You Did Last Summer and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Those are horror classics. It's surprising that they never really went past those two movies. I know there was a direct-to-DVD third movie that was created with a totally different cast, but nobody remembers that or cares about that. So I think for the most part, until they bring those characters back to this franchise, we're just going to ignore it. So hearing that this film is getting a legacy sequel, I was excited to see what it was about. The thing I'm most sad about is that it took me so long to watch it. I remember I was watching an interview with Freddie Prinze Jr. Apparently there's been many iterations of this movie that he's been contacted to do, and a lot of his other movies from the 90s, they wanted to make like either remakes or legacy sequels to these, and he's turned them down. He's pretty much like a family man now, him and Sarah Michelle Gellar. But a deal was reached for him and Jennifer Love Hewitt to come back for this sequel, and after reading the script, he decided he would do it. And I have to say, this is a fine legacy sequel. I'm not going to say this is like a complete refresher for this franchise, like the way when Scream came back, how that was, but I think this is a good jumping off point. I think this movie takes some bigger swings than Scream did in terms of how it's moving forward these characters and how it is treating your legacy characters, where some franchises would be too afraid to do. So I did enjoy that. And unlike a lot of these smaller budget legacy sequels, I actually know who these actors are. Tyriq Withers, one of my favorite new young actors. I really enjoyed him in this movie. Madelyn Cline, I remember seeing her in Glass Lane. Really enjoyed her in this film. Jonah Hauer-King, he was, of course, was in that like Little Mermaid movie I took my daughter to. And when I was watching the movie, I didn't quite I'm like, he looks so familiar. Who is he? Then I picked it up about halfway through. Now, Sui Wonders and Sarah Pidgeon, I'm not quite familiar with their work, but I enjoyed them in this role as well. And I did enjoy this movie. I think it hit the correct beats, brought back the correct characters, because not many people survived the original franchise, so there's only so many people that you can bring back. And it's not too long. It is not too long. It is just the right amount of pace. The kills are gory. The connection to the previous film is good. The only thing I think they could have changed is some of the writing. Now, there is a big, bold twist ending to this film when you find out who the killer is, and it is not really set up anywhere else in this movie. And I think mainly because that was not the original ending they had planned. They had a killer set up, and they decided to do something different with that at the end. But when you watch the whole movie through, there are some things that the killer does that doesn't quite add up or make sense. And I don't think that the writers or the director went back and changed those scenes to make the ending that we got make a little more sense. And I would have loved for them to have dealt with that better. And I don't know if they can do it in a sequel, kind of go back and make it make a little more sense. That's one thing I thought they could have done better. Another thing, characters that come back, Ray Bronson and Julie James, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt from the previous movies, it is mentioned in this movie that they were married at one point and they are now divorced and they're not really friends anymore. I would have loved to explore their relationship a little more. We get like a small conversation between them, but they should have had a lot more to do in this movie and a lot more about what has happened in these in-between years. Like what made Ray the way he is and what made Julie the way she is. I would have loved to have had a little more communication between them. It really does seem like they wanted to focus on the newer cast, which I get, but we are here for Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt. They should have had a bigger part in this movie. And for like a large portion of it, Jennifer Love Hewitt is kind of like gone. I was surprised she was in this movie as much as I thought she was going to be. And maybe there was something to do with, how much she's getting paid, how much money they had in the budget, whether she was busy doing something else. I'm not sure. But I would love to see more of her character. And they are setting it up for her to, I guess, be one of the main stars in a sequel, because this movie, it sets up a sequel and I want to see it. And I remember watching the news about Jennifer Love Hewitt, like around the time this movie came out, and everybody's talking about how much she's older now, how much weight she's gained, and it just made me sick. I'm like, because first of all, people gain weight as they get older. That's part of it. But she's gorgeous. She looks great. She's gotten thicker. She's had like 3 kids. There is nothing wrong with that woman. And I don't get, like, the same thing with Nelly Furtado. It's like, these are real figures of real women and they look great and people want to shame them. Like, just because she's not like that little skinny teenage girl she was back then does not mean she does not look beautiful now. So I just want to, that's just my random thoughts on that. But this franchise moving forward, I think, has the potential to rival the Scream franchise in the way that they can just do sequel, let's sequel, let's sequel. Madelyn Cline, she is a great up-and-coming actor that I think that they could probably position this franchise around, as long as they're also willing to keep Jennifer Love Hewitt in it for a certain amount of time. Brandy does make a cameo appearance in this movie. I'm not going to say when or where it is, but clearly they want to bring that character back as well. And I would have to rewatch the original. I'm not sure how many other people survived, but it would be great to see exactly how they're going to do this sequel and how they're going to tie it to those past films. Because I'm pretty sure if you're a good writer, you can think of anything. So in terms of a score, I'm going to give I Know What You Did Last Summer a solid 6 out of 10. Like I said, I want to see more. I want to see the sequel. They set up a sequel. I want to see it. I want to see where they're going with the stories. And even if this fourth, technically, I guess, 5th movie is the last one, I'll be fine with that. But the way they set it up at the end, I want to see more. I want to thank you guys again for joining me for the 5th annual JanuScary special. You can find the full review on YouTube and the website, flipfrogllc.com/flicksfrog. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.